Y'all, the holiday season is just around the corner, and we're all looking for ways to spend and stress less. HelloFresh makes mealtime nearly hassle-free with delicious home-delivered, chef-crafted recipes that come together quick and are less expensive than takeout. Step out of your recipe rut and make fun, flavorful meals without needing to hunt for specialty ingredients. And HelloFresh's pre-portioned ingredients means less food waste. Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/what excuse me. Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free WellRed. Applied across 7 boxes. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/free WellRed. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Skew. Are we here?
You ain't gonna play the thing?
Oh, no.
Okay. All right, we're here. We're here, everybody. No theme song for y'all this week.
Dude, I'm sorry. My brain's all over the place since we're having to record all these early.
Yep. Here we are. It's just me and Cho. You get a double dose of me and Cho this week if you listen to both this and POA, because Drew is absconded to parts unknown as his wont to do. No, this one is not Drew's fault. We normally record on Tuesdays and couldn't this week, but he was like, well, fuck you. I can't record on Monday. So we were like, well, guess you just get to not be here then.
You know how I've told you
that's how that happened.
You know how I've told you there's like certain words that make me hungry, or just if I hear a Chinese person talk, I get hungry. Like I've told you, I have all these like weird trigger. Abscond is a huge one for me.
It does sound like a nut based something.
Well, I just always want to scone. Yeah, I just always want to scone when I hear that. And when you get in like that mood, there's certain foods that's like sushi's definitely one of them. It's that when you get in the mood for that particular thing, nothing will satisfy other than that. Like a lot of times when I'm hungry, it's like throw anything at me, I'm good. But when it's like a sushi hungry, or like I want a scone, or like a cheese Danish, I'm like, get everything. You've seen me go after a Waffle House like I was a grizzly bear.
Yeah, I don't get. I'm trying to think. It's not that I don't get cravings or whatever. I do, but not like. I feel like you again. I feel like you go through like spells.
I do go through spells.
Where, like again, I've seen you have where you're like, I'm on primarily a pancake based diet at present. Where it's like, most of my meals are pancakes, or you've been like, I feel like right before you got gout, totally by coincidence, in the run up to that, you had eaten nothing but I thought like steak and eggs every morning for like for like months.
Oh yeah, I would eat. There was many weeks where, and this is coincidentally,
I like can't do that. Like no matter how hard something hits for me, I just can never do that because I want different. Like I want it mixed up. Like even though I love steak and eggs, obviously, if I had it 2 days in a row, I'd be like, oh, I don't want that again for at least a week. I want other things.
I'm less like that now that we have Bane, so we like do switch it up. And like Amber has actually started cooking lately, which
congrats.
Yeah, it's great. But I don't know. I've always been like that. Like also a big, huge thing here to mention that my gout and me living on that diet was purely related to that's when we started hitting. You know what I mean? Like as soon as we started hitting, it was the first time I've ever had money in my bank account that I didn't have to look at and go, okay, so here's how much I need for, you know what I mean? Like it was like I was free, I was comfortable, and in my brain, making it always meant steak every day. And so I did it, and then fucking worked myself into a shoot and got gout. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm fixated on that. It's weird because, by the way, please understand that I'm in no way diagnosing like all those people on TikTok too. However, from every single friend group that I have on a weekly basis, I get sent videos and articles about autism and them being like, just you, bro. And
no, that ain't true. You know how I know that's not true? Because in our friend group, it's Drew that everybody says is autistic.
Yeah, okay. Aside from that friend group, and yeah, it's only because we have one that's like clearly more,
Even more.
you know what I mean? But like, it's really wild because I was like, I never like bought into it because I was like, bro, but then I started realizing that like, even my outgoingness, like, you know me, like I really would rather be home. It's like, oh my God, that's masking or whatever. But a big thing is like having safety foods. And like when you get on a food, it's like, this forever. And like going on streaks like that. But also there's a huge crossover between autism and ADHD. So I'm like, I don't know, guys, like I'm pretty just super ADHD. But anyways, yeah, that's a me thing. And I don't hit at it.
Mm-mm. Now,
hey, we're going to be in Nashville, Trae. We should go ahead and tell people.
Yep, December 12th through the 14th at Zany's in Nashville. Holiday homecoming deal, just like it is every year. A little bit earlier this year, but still going to hit. Me, Cho, Andrew, all will be there.
This is also the only time of year that we are together. So even if
you're not special.
Yeah. So even if you're not in Nashville proper, if you're close enough driving, I know a lot of people are. I posted about it on Blue Sky, and I had several people that were like, just got my plane tickets. You know what I mean? So like, do it. It'll be fun. Get those tickets at TraeCrowder.com along with all of Trae's days.
Yeah, make it hit. So do you are you looking forward to this Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I love Thanksgiving because we do it different.
Thanksgiving does hit, obviously, but like, do
you mean like politically?
Yeah, well, just around the election and stuff. A lot of people were like, after the election, I saw a lot of people on Reddit and shit just being like, man, this Thanksgiving is going to be wild. And I remember a lot of people saying that in 2016 too. And
I'm immune to that.
Right. But why? Because you're so used to it?
No, because a lot of people don't know this, but on Thanksgiving, I go to Iowa with Amber's family every year. Yeah. And the reason I love Thanksgiving, so I've always loved Thanksgiving, but because we basically did a thing where it's like we were just trying to switch up Christmas and Thanksgiving every year for us to go up there. But the Iowa people had a great idea. They're like, hold on, how about during Thanksgiving, y'all just come up here during Thanksgiving because it's not as cold, and we'll do Thanksgiving and our family's Christmas at the same time. So I get Thursday Thanksgiving, and then Friday the girls get up and they do their Black Friday stuff or whatever, and then we have Christmas that night. Now, it's not just because of that. I'm not saying like, oh, because it hits so hard for me, I can just take all the Trump stuff. Every single family member of Amber's is either completely apolitical and have been, like, they remind me, like their family reminds me of how it used to be in the South. Right. They get in the garage, they start drinking. The last fucking thing in the world they want to talk about is politics, because politics don't hit to talk about unless you're an analyst or whatever. All they want to talk about is how many deer they've killed, how many ducks they about to kill, and how hitting the neighbors' homemade Slim Jims they just made and sent over are. They drink Busch Light. It's fucking great. None of that gets brought up. And they're either that, or on the other side, on Amber's like mom's side of the family, not Amber's mom, she's a Republican or whatever, but her dad, he fucking hates Trump and he's a Democrat. And the reason, the reason is because he's one of the most decent men I've ever known, and he's amazing, and I love him so much. But also, he was a postal worker his entire life, so he's very pro-union. He's just always been a Democrat because he was very pro-union and stuff like that. But he didn't get down with, like, dude, even if Trump had been pro-union, he wouldn't have liked him. Like, I remember in 2016, like before MAGA really set in and everybody was making it their personality, he was already on the fuck this guy. He's a clown. He's embarrassing the office. He don't like people that talk mean because he's a real sweet guy. That was like a non-starter for him, just that Trump was mean. You know what I mean?
This is Amber's mom's dad?
Yeah.
So it's her papaw.
Yeah, her papaw. Yeah. He's not. So anyways, my point is, but he don't talk, like, by the way, it's great because he knows. He only talks about that to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's read my book. He knows the deal. And I was, dude, when I first met him, I didn't know any of this. And I was terrified because our book had just come out and I was going to meet her papaw on a farm in Iowa. And I was like, oh God. And dude, we immediately hit it off. We're very much alike. He's the sweetest guy. And he's one of those people that politics aside, wouldn't have liked Trump just because he's mean and this guy's super sweet.
What about when all them other fellers talking about stuff they killed and whatnot? What do you contribute to those conversations?
I cook
what,
it.
What do you? When are you in the garage?
Yeah,
are you in the kitchen with the women cooking?
No,
where you belong?
I don't. I don't stay in the garage as long as I'm sure they'd want me to, but that's purely because I don't drink on these trips. Why? I never drink when I'm on vacation. Like, I like to just relax and feel good, and especially now that we got Bane, I want to have the energy to take care of him.
You are one of the most nonsensical people that I've ever known.
I only drink when I work. I only drink when I work
because you'll like be just. Well, I mean, I always forget you're 3 hours ahead of me, but like,
yeah,
you know. We'll wrap up a podcast recorder, and you're well on your way to
because I'm working.
Tore up, and then by 5 o'clock my time, you're like threatening to kill people on Twitter and stuff like that.
Because I've been working
drunk on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But you'll do that, but then you're like, oh, I don't drink on vacation.
I don't, because you know why? A vacation is supposed to be the opposite of work. It's a vacation from your normal life. And if that's my normal life, like on me and Amber's honeymoon, we were in fucking Barbados or whatever it was for 7 days, free drinks, all that shit. I didn't drink a drop. Amber was hammered the whole time, and I loved watching her get hammered. That was great. But I read a book a day. That was my thing. Like, I like, when I don't have to work and stuff, I like to truly relax, and I can't really relax with alcohol.
That's also why, because I think a lot of people, it's like, toes in the sand, beach chair, pina colada or margarita or something, watching the waves come in is like at sunset.
Yeah.
Is like the pinnacle of relaxation.
It does
and also people being like, even outside of that, just like, I'm the type of person that I need a drink to like calm me down. So, or
I hear you. One drink will calm me down.
If my nerves and shit is not hitting, a drink like levels me out, or like it. I mean, it relaxes me. I don't know how else to put it. It relaxes me, and so to be like, well, I can't really. But it just turns you up.
Yeah,
your brain, all your wires is wrong. Is what I'm saying.
Dude, I'm autistic. I guess
your brain is wrong. It's wire. You got.
I'm never going to deny this. You've never heard me lobby for me being correct in the way I do things, or I know it's wrong. It's just, that's just how it is, dude. I can't help it. But so to me, I hear you, if I was super stressed, one shot of whiskey would definitely take the edge off. It's just that I'm going to have two. And then that makes, because you don't have severe anxiety like I do. We talked about this. Like, you have depression. We share that. I know you've dealt with anxiety more lately. But,
well, it's been better. I went through about an 18-month period where I had crippling, I thought it was going to ruin my life level anxiety.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I think, knock on wood, that I have since gotten it under control. And
that's good.
It's been better for a long time. But I spent 18 months having,
I'm
pretty sure, just about the worst type of anxiety that a person can physically have.
You did. It was really bad, and I feel bad for you. But I've had it my whole life. I know the things now. I mean, it took me fucking 35 years, but now I know the things not to do to make it worse. And alcohol is a huge contributing factor. And it's not while I'm on drunk; it's the hangover. It makes me super anxious, and the anxiety blisters into depression. And another huge reason is I noticed when I would go on family things that I would drink with the family the night before, and then the next day I was so depressed I didn't want to leave my room, and it sort of fucked my vacation up. And when I'm anxious, I'll be the first to admit it, I'm not fun to be around. I've got a hair trigger. I can be an asshole. And so now I just as a help not only to me, but also to everybody there so we can have a good vacation, I just stay away from it. I relax. I'm more about the family and the kids now. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back and be like, I've grown so much, but I enjoy hanging out with the kids and stuff. I don't mind if everybody's drinking while I'm in there, playing Pokemon or whatever. That hits for me. Plus, by the way, somebody gonna have to be sober enough to go to the goddamn hospital. You know what I mean? I get worried about that. Everybody drunk and there's kids around. I'm like, somebody Gotta fucking not be drunk.
Yeah, well, I don't consider the holidays a vacation necessarily, but like I go to
It's for
my
me.
in-laws every year for Christmas, and I love it. And I don't ever drink there either. But the thing is, nobody does. Like I've talked about before, but like I've always kind of marveled at those families who they all get together for holidays and just get blitzed. And it's like, on the one hand, it does seem like it would be fun, but on the other hand, I do think that's where a lot of the like domestic disputes that happen probably originate, is because they get to, but like my whole life, even dude, my dad and both my papaws, big drinkers, you know, come from a long line of sinners like me or whatever, but never family events on, and then dude, on my mom's side of the family, fucking, it was pills, it was fucking crack,
right?
Whatever, wild
crack
as hell. But at holidays, though, everybody just pretended they didn't do none of that.
Do you think that was like
always?
That was just a nod of respect to the ones who did, Meemaw, the Meemaw.
That's what I always thought. It's like you don't do that. You just don't do that shit around Meemaw or Mama Cat and my mama's mama, Mama Cat, who didn't fuck with none. I mean, she smoked a pack a day, but she didn't drink or do drugs or nothing. So it's just like, yes, that is what I've always thought. Is it's like it would be disrespectful to Meemaw or whatever to do that. But either way, like I've never had that experience. Every girlfriend I've ever had, up to and including 15 years with Katie, their families were the same way. In like, just no, I've never even been to a family gathering that was.
I dated a bunch of orphans
in my life. I've never even had the opportunity to do it. So my holiday getaways is very, very family oriented and wholesome too, which I do love. I make gingerbread houses from scratch that the kids heavily a gingerbread decorating contest for that.
I'm
everybody
so
judges,
into that.
And we make all these little holiday games and all this stuff, and I love all that too. But I'm saying I'm not opting to not drink. Literally, no one is drinking the whole time, and that's how it's always been for me.
I've gotten a lot more tenderhearted about family since obviously since I had a kid, but even when Laura James was born, and she's 7 now, and also going to therapy made me just a tenderhearted dude. I fucking cried insurance commercials. I'm a stereotype, but like I don't get to see that side of the family a lot, and a lot of them are getting older, and and it's always that count. When we lost Grandpa Rich last year, like it's always that countdown of like I might not ever see these people again because they live in Iowa, and like again, not trying to sound any type of way, but like I really try to just be present and just enjoy that. And dude, like everybody got 3 or 4 kids. It's a menagerie of kids running around. And like, I just have fun with that. Like they're all wanting to throw ball and all that stuff. It's almost like even if I wanted to drink, I wouldn't have a chance to, cause I'm too busy running around, like just being the fun uncle. And I love that. And me and bro, Bane is like my shadow. Like he goes everywhere I go, even if his mama's in there. I mean, he loves his mama, obviously, but like he's my shadow. And I'm so ADD that I'm like, I can't give my brain any more excuses to not pay attention to what's going on. And when I'm on alcohol, it's like, well, fucking, whatever. So like, that's just like, I don't know if I told you, but like the other night I fucked with a weed gummy for like the first time since Bane was born. And it was after I put him down, because I was like, that it can't be before then. And I put him down, and as soon as that weed gummy hit, I turned into Daniel Plainview, and I was just like, I've abandoned my boy!
For sure.
I've abandoned my child!
Absolutely. That spell of anxiety I had, it ended weed forever for me, I think. I don't
blame you. It's not worth it.
I haven't fucked with weed in any capacity since then, because while that was happening, it was just a complete non-starter. Like when I was having that anxiety real bad, if I had any amount of THC whatsoever, it would trigger a full-blown panic attack. And like so I just stopped, and I haven't ever gone back to it. Like I haven't fucked with weed at all in months really. So even though I got the anxiety under control, generally speaking, that's the thing. Is like I'll still get some anxiety every now and then about a certain thing. But now I can, and I know
when it's coming.
Like, that ain't it. That don't hit. You shouldn't do that. Whatever. But now I can have, like, as an example, I can have like 2 drinks or something
Don't let people tell you that ain't it. If that works for you, it works.
Typically that'll work just fine, and then I'm okay after that. And also, even that happening is like once a month or something.
Yeah,
whereas used to, dude, when I was in the throes of this, I mean, there were multiple times where I thought I was gonna like just try to walk off the stuff. Like I had panic attacks on stage in front of a room full of people where like
it's rough.
I didn't move. I'm anchored to the mic stand because I'm shaking violently, so I can't let go of it. I can't move at all. Just stand there like a statue, deliver my line, and it's like still getting laughs and they get hit for people, but inside I'm tortured. And that happened multiple times. There are plenty of other times where it was like came to the verge of that, but not quite. I mean, it was like a living nightmare for a while there, but then it got better. But so I'm happy for that. But the weed, I just don't. Even before all that happened, it was like, what was the best case scenario for me with like, even before that happened, I would still, the void would show up. I would still freak out. So it's like, but what was the good version? Like, what happened? Like, the late night snacks or not been eaten anyway hit a little harder before I went to bed. Like, why even? Well, and for the people, I know that weed affects different people differently. For some
there's people listening to this going, what do you mean you had anxiety and you couldn't fuck with weed? That's the thing that helps.
That's how Katie is. Weed helps Katie's anxiety. I'm saying everybody's different, so it should be legal. I support you doing whatever you want to do. If it hits for you, then that hits for me just fine. But for me, I'd almost rather fuck with any other drug you can imagine than,
me too.
than too much marijuana, and that's the God's honest truth.
Well, dude,
like if you told me right now, like, would you rather like take a like little bit of heroin, you know, like a reason you're definitely not going to OD, but it is straight up heroin versus what you know is too much weed. So like, for me, too much is 10. 5 is too much. Let's say
I'm taking 2.5 and going to the moon, my brother.
Right? They were like, 25 milligram weed gummy or heroin. I would be like, give me the heroin. Like,
speaking from experience,
no doubt about it. And that will impact my life less negatively than that 25 milligram gummy. No doubt about it. And there's people out there that take 100 milligram gummies at a time. And
Robbie takes 1,000 milligrams at a time.
Yeah, it's just
no.
Insane.
Not only do I can tell you from experience. Yeah, take the heroin. I mean, as long as you know in this scenario, you're not going to get addicted or whatever. Which luckily I didn't. But it's going to be better. Like, I'm with you. And I think what it is, this is a 2-part thing I'm about to say, because you have just said something that transitions perfectly into a thing I wanted to talk to you about. I didn't think you were going to bring up heroin. I thought I was going to have to. But anyways, I think what it is with me and you, this is it for me at least. Like, all you hear is the stories of people taking weed to relax. It makes them happy at party. All you hear is that. And we've heard it so much that even though we have data that proves that's not true for us, we still every now and then convince ourselves it'll work this time. It'll work this time. Like, it's just it's Einstein's definition of insanity, but we fall for it every time. We're like, it'll work, because every now and then it has just purely hit for me. But I'm talking 1% of the times I've taken it. Anyways, on heroin.
Do you mean ever though? Like, because my thing is that, like, before I had children in my late teens and early 20s, weed hit so hard for me. I never freaked out on it. It hit more
back then,
I never freaked out on it. I never had a bad experience. I would just listen to it, put on headphones, and play, like, Slash guitar solos and almost have a seizure from hitting so hard. Like,
no, it did used to hit for me.
And, like, we had a buddy, Chris, my buddy Chris. He used to freak out even back then, and all the rest of us were like, bro, what the fuck is your deal, right? And I was just with him last weekend, and because we got brought up.
Nashville?
No, I was in Cookville watching is he coming to Nashville? Yeah. I don't know, maybe. He got 2 little kids and everything, but maybe. But anyway, I brought this up when I saw him last weekend. I was like, dude, by the way, I apologize for anything I ever said to you about weed when we were in our 20s or whatever, because I fucking get it now.
Yeah,
like, I'm exactly the way now that you used to be back then. But he was always like that. He never had a hidden. But that's why I've always thought it was hard for me, is because my introduction to weed in my first few years with weed, it ruled. I loved it.
Right.
and it was just hard for me to say goodbye to.
Now it was
yesterday
different back then
in that way. Well, they made it way crazier over the years.
Yeah.
Plus, I moved to California where it's even another level, and But either way, I've always thought that's what made it so hard for me is because it did used to hit, and then it just stopped hitting, and I couldn't accept that for a long, long time. But
I think that
finally did.
I think that Denver experience might have snapped us. You know what I mean? When we took too much. And also when we were in the hotel room that night, and the only person who could save us was Rory Scoville's special. Anyways, no, I feel you. It's not worth it to me anymore, really. And now I'll be honest though, the after I freaked out about abandoning Bane, like it was a low dose, and like I ended up just kind of calming down, and it was whatever. But it wasn't enough of a great feeling to justify any moment of freak out. You know what I mean? Like if any other thing does that to me on the regular, I'd stop trying it. Heroin. So I don't know if you heard your boy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., our current national advisor of health, the chief health doctor, the doctor of America,
Secretary of Health and Human Services,
Secretary of Doctors. This is after he's done been labeled that. He's said some crazy shit. Like he's always said some crazy shit. Normally, however, it was about, chopping the head off of a whale or drop kicking a dolphin in its pussy. And like, none of that has to do with like the health of this country. So it's like, whatever, live your life. He was just on a podcast where they were asking about his fucking ADHD, how he has extreme ADHD. And they were like, man, how did you achieve so much having it that bad and like, in college and whatever? And he was like, oh, simple. I just did heroin, man. Like it just calms me right down. He's like, I'm telling you. And I'm just seeing a clip, and maybe at the end he was like, don't do heroin. But the clip I saw was him just really extolling the virtues of heroin as it pertains to ADHD and how it can focus you and calm you down. Now I can tell you this. I've done heroin. Calm me down 100%.
Right.
Get some work done. Fuck you talking about?
Right.
I'm talking about, I'm listening to Deep Purple.
And
I'm fucking
just nodding.
Nodding. And then at the very end of it, when I realize, oh, you've done heroin, who the fuck are you? I turn on some Jeff Buckley, think about killing myself. You know what I mean? Like I'm not writing an essay. Granted, many artists have.
But you would not. I mean, you got the hardcore ADHD, and he says that's what that's for. So I mean, if you say it don't work that way, then I don't feel like did Kurt Cobain hit on heroin? I guess he hit on heroin, right?
Yeah, but I think is
he must have, because I was trying to think. It's like, who do we ever know have we ever known that has hit harder or hit real hard while on heroin? Mitch Hedberg.
But I don't know that he was on heroin when he performed. You know what I mean?
Think he definitely was.
Yeah, you're right. He probably was.
I mean, I'm not saying all the time, but I mean, I've heard stories.
But we also don't know. The thing is, we don't know that they hit harder on heroin because we never saw them not on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, when my career, obviously you really helped fire start my career, but when my solo career really started taking off,
when you stopped doing all that heroin.
No, it's not just that I stopped doing all that heroin. I got completely sober. And like, I genuinely used to believe like, oh, you're funnier when you're drunk and you come up with funnier ideas when you're drunk or whatever. But it's just that I'd never not been drunk. And I got sober and I was more creative than ever.
Well, what's funny about that is that actually the same exact thing happened to me. Like, because I remember Thompson was the one who pointed it out to me because I didn't even really think about it that way. But we did Downton Flabby in early 2016. Right. And I, late 2015, early 2016. And which was a weight loss challenge. And as part of that, I stopped drinking like for the first time ever. And I didn't. And then
I drank arguably more.
Yeah. Right. And and you lost real bad because you didn't take it at all seriously, which, is to be expected, I guess. But it hit real hard for me, and I didn't go back. So like I stopped drinking and then didn't drink at all for probably, I don't know, 4-ish months.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I'm done with drinking. And then in April of that year is when I went viral and quit my day job and everything started. And that happened and then as soon as that happened, I was like, fucking, I'm a rock star. Let's get yeah, right.
Yeah, me too, bro.
Fucking boxes of wine every night and all that shit. It's like, let's pull it up. Gained 40 pounds in 7 months. Yeah. Literally 40 pounds in 7 months.
Me too, and I was already fat.
But like, so I threw it all away immediately.
Yeah,
but I remember I didn't even think about like the health part. Right. I threw the health part, but that didn't even occur to me. I remember it was Thompson who like pointed that out to me. He was like, dude, I just think it's so crazy. It's like, I feel like it can't be a coincidence that like you stopped drinking, you got sober, whatever, and then all this great shit happened.
It's not a coincidence.
And I was like, what are you talking about?
It's not a coincidence. I was like,
I guess that is technically true. But I've already quit all that. So I've quit the quitting. I've quit the being sober.
No, dude, it's 100% true, but it backfires on me because I've done this multiple times throughout my career. Because as you know, me and you, the level of hit that we're at, our hits come in bursts, and then we ride that out, and then we are in no hit land for a while, and then there's a burst, right? And for me, at least since, COVID or whatever, I've leveled up several times, and every single time was because I took like 4 months off drinking. But what happens is, just like you said, you took off drinking, and then you get this great thing, and how do you celebrate? Mm-hmm. You drink, and you're like, I did it, pop, pop, pop. And then and it's not just like, it's twofold, really. When you're not drinking, you have way more energy, and thus you have more hours in the day than you used to. You're like, we all have the same 24 hours, sure, but when you're a drunk, you got the time you're drinking, you're fucked, and then the time you're recovering, you're fucked, right? So you gain more hours during the day. But also, I think a big part of it is that voice that tells you suck and nothing will ever hit. I'm not saying he's not still there when you're sober, but he's way louder when you're drinking. You know what I mean? Way louder.
I do know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. But you know what? It's time to hear from our sponsor, HelloFresh, one of my favorite all-time hitting sponsors we've ever had in the history of this show. Y'all know that I'm a big devotee. I have been for years, and I remain so. We all know that we got time to spend in the kitchen coming up. The holiday season is here. It is upon us, so we're all looking for ways to spend and stress a little less. I mean, me and Katie have been texting today. I've been trying to figure out we're going to our big Thanksgiving potluck we go to every year, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm bringing, what I'm doing. We're trying to coordinate that and get all the right groceries bought, and it's a whole thing. You got to put it all together, but you have to eat all the other days too. You got to have meals for your family the other time, and it's like they can't go by the wayside. You got to do that, but you don't have to stress about it with HelloFresh. HelloFresh makes mealtime nearly hassle-free with delicious home-delivered, chef-crafted recipes that come together quick and are much less expensive than takeout. My favorite thing that I've always liked about them, there was a couple things. One, they help reduce waste. I've got a major hang up about food waste. It drives me crazy. Yet I've always wasted a lot of food when I buy my own groceries because I'm just stupid and I'm number dumb and all that.
Yep.
But with HelloFresh, that's out the window. They do the grocery shopping for you. They send you exactly the amount of things that you need to cook these meals so you never waste, which really hits for me. Also, the other thing is, you can step out of your recipe rut with HelloFresh and make fun, flavorful meals without needing to hunt for specialty ingredients, things that I would have never made before, like halloumi grilling cheese. I wouldn't have ever with that ever in my life. I wouldn't even, my white trash bulgogi, my white trash butt wouldn't have even have known about those things without HelloFresh. And then here I am making them, making me feel fancy as all get out. But so yeah, I've been a big fan and remain a big fan. Also, now they got HelloFresh Market, which has over 100 add-on items like desserts, quick breakfasts, snacks, and a lot more. This month, they even have Thanksgiving items, just so you know, that can help you wow a crowd with minimal effort on your part. Not that anybody needs to know that. Joe, tell them a little more.
Dude, I think, and I always like to push this on people, that's probably not the right word, but like, I don't think HelloFresh says this enough, but like an added benefit, and you sort of just touched on it, is like, especially for my wife who really thought she couldn't cook. Like Amber's always been like, I can't cook. So we got HelloFresh, and I would be on the road, so she didn't want him to go to waste, so she'd do it, right? And then I'd come home to one of the meals, and I was like, baby, this is great. Like, why do you say you can't cook? This is great. She goes, well, I mean, I just followed the recipe. And I'm like, baby, that's what cooking is. So, like, it gave my wife the confidence to, like, start cooking and understood that she could. But also even me, who is, like, a lifelong cooker, like Trae said, it kind of teaches you things that you otherwise wouldn't know. Like, bro, before HelloFresh, I had no idea the benefits of just putting lemon zest in whatever needs just a slight level up. Like my pastas, like even when I'm not using HelloFresh, and I'm just doing like eggs for my son, like lemon zest, whatever. And I learned all this from HelloFresh. They're great. They're great meals. It just makes like the stress of, oh, what are we going to have tonight? What are we going to have tonight? We already know. We got the things. We're pumped about it. We picked them, right? It's awesome. Here's the deal. Here's what you need to do. You're going to get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/freewellread, and it's applied across 7 boxes. New subscribers only, varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/freewellread. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Could not suggest them more strongly. They hit for me, and thank you, HelloFresh, for sponsoring the podcast, and more importantly, teaching my wife that she can cook, baby. All right.
Make a hit.
Make a hit. So heroin.
Yeah, did you have more to say on that, or were we?
No, I just thought it was funny. I did.
Okay.
I had one other thing before we just started talking about Thanksgiving foods. If you want to do that, because I kind of would like to.
Well, all right. Wait, hold on. What's
this is quick.
Is it about? Okay, go ahead.
No, it has nothing to do with anything.
I have another thing that has nothing to do with anything either. So.
Well, good. Say that afterwards.
Okay.
Right. No, this hasn't. I just had this book on my desk. I bought it because it was 75 cents. It's the Secret Book of CIA Humor. And I was like, well, that has to be. I'm like, there's no way that book should be that big. You know what I mean? But I came across this that seemingly has nothing to do with the CIA. It was just hilarious and raving to me. They're talking about pickup lines, right? It says, dating is getting tougher. Women are demanding cleverer or at least more sensitive opening lines. I've been talking to a lot of single women, and they've offered the following top 10 worst pickup lines that they've actually ever heard. Some of these are run-of-the-mill, but a couple really. Matter of fact, I'm moving number 7 to number 1 because because I want it to be at the end. Number 10, I'd like to drink your bathwater. Like dude, it's so funny to me because like we say that about women in private, you know what I mean? When they wouldn't hear it. I didn't know dudes was actually going up to women and saying, I'd like to drink your bathwater.
I mean, I feel that way about all these pickup lines.
Who's saying them?
There was a period of time on the internet back in like the early 2000s, whatever, where like pickup lines were like huge
because of the artist, that guy or whatever.
I feel like it was even like it was more like they were like it was like a Chuck Norris joke type thing.
Right.
Remember the Chuck Norris jokes? Like he doesn't do push-ups, he pushes the earth away from him or something like that. Like those pickup lines were also like they were like and also the sex moves we talked before about like the donkey punching and all that.
Yeah, those were huge.
That era, but I didn't. Right. Anytime I've been.
Do you ever know about the Adobe Hut?
I don't think so. Is that a move?
You couldn't have because my buddy made it up. That's where you come in a girl's face and then throw dirt on it so it sticks.
Okay. Yeah, that would have fit in nicely in that era. But anytime I've been confronted with the idea of dudes using these in real life, every time I've been like, wait, I thought that was just a thing that we were hitting with. Like, I didn't know. Like, you
or
actually
old men did it back in the day.
You actually thought you were supposed to do that or to say that?
You know what a great pickup line is? Hey, how you doing? My name's Corey.
Exactly. That's the only one
that's what
really
you do.
Matters, I feel like, or works.
Number 9, a classic. If I could rewrite the alphabet, I'd put you and I together.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Are these are pickup lines that CIA agents use?
No. This is, for some reason, in the Secret Book of CIA Humor.
They have to seduce people. That's part of what they do. I mean, according to the documentary series, The Americans that I've watched and other espionage things, that's like a big part of spy work is that you have to seduce people to be a good spy.
That might have come before this.
What this was about.
Well, that might have come before this. I'm not actively reading this book. I just saw it right before we recorded, and I opened it, and this was the page it was on. So, yeah, maybe they are talking about that.
Because it's fun. It's funnier if it's like, if this is part of like CIA training or something. Like because they have to seduce the wives of fucking attaches and shit like that.
Yeah.
Because they have to do that. If they're like trained in seduction, and this is part of the training.
It doesn't seem like that's...
They tell them these pickup lines or whatever. That makes it even funnier to think about because these are terrible. But
I just flipped back like before this section and like, no, this just comes out of nowhere. Like they're not.
So it's like it's just a book about CIA jokes. In the middle of it, it's like, hey, here's how you can get some pussy in a funny way. By the way,
well,
hey,
no, this is actually how to not get pussy because they've said they polled women and they said these were the worst. You know what I mean? So
okay.
So number 8, let's have breakfast tomorrow morning. Should I phone you or nudge you? I mean, that's not bad. Okay, I'm saving that one for the end. Excuse me, I seem to have dropped my Congressional Medal of Honor. Do you see it anywhere around here? Jesus Christ.
I mean,
enough women said that.
If you, yeah,
that is funny though.
There's no way. Well,
it's so ludicrous that it's funny.
Yeah, but also like, you know, if you're one of the few people that have one of those, I feel like that probably works every time.
Oh, yeah. Dude, if I walked on the moon, you best believe my pickup line would be, I'm one of the few people to walk on the moon. Want to see my butthole? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you keep it simple like that. You know, they don't have to be, you know, overwritten, these things.
Excuse me. Excuse me, you have lipstick on your teeth. That ain't it.
No.
I mean, I guess it shows the woman that you care. Like, you're like, hey, I don't want to let anybody know.
Sounds like a precursor to negging to me.
Yes, I agree. 4.
What's up, bitch? Your teeth don't hit. Trying to get out of here.
I've had a woman use that on me.
Yeah. Right. Well, our teeth don't hit.
They don't hit. Say, is that your toothbrush I see in your purse? Creepy.
What?
By the way, my buddy made one up, which was this. My buddy Kelly, he's really funny. He said, and this is a spin on a classic. He said, hey, is that a mirror in your pocket? Because it looks like you have 2 pockets.
Nice.
That's funny. Well,
explain the toothbrush to me.
Say, is that a toothbrush I see in your purse? I assume it would be like, that means you're ready to roll. Like you brought your toothbrush out, which means you can stay at my house.
Else's place? Okay.
Yeah. Number 3, I'm the best and the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know about, all right.
And by the way, all of these are extremely, and they never mention these in the dating shows or in the dating, like, successful tips for dating things. Every single one of these is contingent on what you look like.
Of course.
Brad Pitt could make it work with all this shit.
I think it's maybe the Tinder subreddit. There's some subreddit that's about like dating, and they have rules. They have like rules for success in dating that's like posted to the subreddit's wiki or whatever. Yeah. And rule number 1 is be attractive.
Yeah,
it's true. Rule number 2 is don't be unattractive. And rule number 3 is see rules number 1 and 2 or something like that. So
because,
like,
dude,
it is 100% like that, bro. It's like, and people will post screenshots on the Tinder subreddit of like them saying crazy shit or whatever, and it'll work or whatnot, and people will be like, well, I see this guy follows rule number 1, but it's like an understanding that, like, you know, if you hit to look at, you can get away with almost anything.
Buy a bag of popcorn and you can do it.
And if you don't hit to look at, you have to be genuinely rizzed out of your mind, which is like, there is people like that. Those people do exist.
Jelly roll, you know, like, anyways. And the thing is, like, I'm a feminist. I'm woke. Call me gay. Call me a liberal. You can do all that stuff. However, like, bro, if an ugly man just look at a woman on a subway a second too long, it's sexual harassment to some of these bitches. But if it's a good-looking dude, he can come over there and touch her leg, and it's fine. And that's how it works. By the way, this is how it works with women, too. Like, if a goddamn, like, ogre of a woman was, like, coming and whispering in my ear, I'd be like, get the fuck off me, bitch. But if a really hot lady was, I'd be like, listen, we can't go no further, but keep doing this. This hits for me.
Where do you put yourself on that spectrum of
I'm just well, dude. Here's the thing. First off, I would
You
never
just regular.
I would never
Because you be having Riz, or at least you did.
I never
It's
would stare at a
all
woman. I never try to pick
out
up
of every last pore of you at this point, because that's what happens after.
After we got married,
and children.
But dude,
right. It just evaporates into
nobody-
the ether forevermore. But you used to have Riz.
I did. I mean, in high school, I was actually attractive. Right. I was attractive. But then as soon as I started doing comedy, as you saw immediately, I got busted out my mind. But I always exclusively dated really hot women, and I was poor. Right.
Yeah.
And it's because, I did have Riz, and like, it's a cheat code if you meet them at the comedy club where you were just funny. Like, that's going to buy you at least 2 months of like, they're still on that. Like, this guy's really fun. But no, I was rizzed out of my goddamn mind. I mean, I wasn't hideous. I was just fat. And also, I'm nice. I'm a nice guy, and I try not to be creepy. Anyways, number 2, that's a lovely blouse. It would look better on my floor. Okay.
That's a classic. I've heard that in a bunch.
And then this is number 1, actually, but I'm changing number 7 to number 1. This is number 1, actually, which this just stuck out and was hilarious to me. Your eyes are like 2 vapid pools.
What? Vapid?
Vapid.
Vapid don't hit. That's back to the negative. Also, I didn't even know pools could be vapid. I thought,
didn't either.
Like shallow? Is that basically what that means? Too shallow? Because you want your eyes to be deep, don't you?
Yeah.
It says vapid means offering nothing that is stimulating or challenging. Just 2 shitty pools.
Pool
just 2
piece of shit eyes.
Puddles of gray shit water. I just remember one time before I got together with Katie when I still had some amount of Riz. I did
chin strap.
Chin strap, which played. I do remember using a full blown pickup line like this once.
Sure. Okay.
But it was it was bespoke. It was a bespoke pickup line.
Oh, you made it up.
That was off the cuff, but also I'm sure she got it a million times. But I'm saying, I met this girl randomly once at she was like at a hotel I was staying at or something. She had a name tag on, right? And it said her name was Sonnette, Sonnette or whatever. And I said something like, Sonnette, huh? I bet you get compared to a lot of summer days, right?
Nice.
Like Shakespeare.
That's good. And that bitch didn't know what the fuck you was talking about.
No, she did. It hit for her.
Oh, really?
We went to a bar later that night.
By the way, I didn't mean that as like women don't understand.
Women are stupid and can't read.
I didn't.
Yeah,
it's just
elaborate on that, show. They don't appreciate
the
art
women
or
that
literature.
Fucked
they
us
don't know
back
how
in the
words
day
work.
are the women that fucked up. Dude, every single ex-girlfriend of mine is a full-blown MAGA lunatic now. That's what I'm basing. Yeah.
It's so funny you say that.
That's what I'm basing this on.
It's so funny you say that. I was just talking about that on my Patreon video that I made today. Like right before I got on here with you, the Patreon video I made, I was talking about how before Katie, the girl I just talked about was like a one night, wasn't even we just like, hung out at a bar or whatever years ago. She wasn't a girlfriend, but before Katie, every girl I ever actually dated, every one of them is a full-blown MAGA lunatic, like you said. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know that for sure with all of them, but
you do.
But you do. Now, the one that I think probably isn't, she also is apparently real bad off on drugs and was suspected to have been abducted and killed, but then turned up fine, and it was just some elaborate plot or something. I don't know. Anyway,
MAGA lunatic.
I don't know. I don't think she's like that.
Lunatic.
There you go. Just take the MAGA part out. She was a sweetheart, though. We don't have to, hell.
And to be fair to all them girls, if I voted for Trump, so would Amber. So, I mean, she's just one of them. So luckily, the things I've told her to believe, she agrees with. So anyhow, by the way, that's a joke, guys. It's not, but I'm going to say it is. Here's my number 1. And I'm going to give a little context to what I think it's talking about so that it hits harder. I assume that this is to be said when a man's looking at a woman's dress or maybe has felt her dress or something, because all it says here is nice material. Wanna fuck?
Yeah. That the material, I remember in that era, maybe it was just that like Bane's big brother James had a book of pickup lines or something. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't a like popular thing on the internet. Maybe we were just exposed to it. But when I was like middle school age, me and Thompson and Bain and Corey Barlow and all of us, like I think, mate, yeah, there was either a book or a website or something that had all these pickup lines listed on that we used to read off and like laugh about and stuff.
Yeah.
And most of the ones you just said were definitely on that list, including, it wasn't material. I just remember it was like nice dress, wanna fuck was
right.
was one of them. But yeah, it's,
I
don't know
think
where
that
those
one would get you further, frankly.
I mean, it just, as with everything, depends on how you look and depends on the woman. I had a buddy that was in the military that when he was on leave, you tell me how you think this plays in today's context, because I still feel like it's mostly fine. When he was on leave from the military, so he was like pretty shredded. He was sort of a short king, like a manlet, but he but
a
was
homunculus.
Yeah, not full blown money, but he was ripped and in very good shape and a good looking dude, just like, sort of minuscule. But he was in the military. When he was on leave from the military, he would the first day he was on leave, he would send out what he called the covenant, right? Which was this like paragraph that he had written up, and this was the era
all the different women.
This was the era of MySpace, right?
Yeah,
so this is like he's putting in work, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he's like pre-Tinder and all that type of shit. He was like getting on MySpace for like girls in the general area or whatever, and he would DM them the covenant, which said he didn't call it the covenant in the thing. We just knew that's what he called it.
Jesus, don't do that. Right. Yeah.
And it basically, all it did, it was just like, here's the deal. I'm in the Army and I'm, looking to fuck something, and I don't ever want to see you again or talk to you because, hey, I might get killed in Fallujah next month anyway. And I'm not really looking for a fucking full time, like I'm here briefly. I'm going to be gone. I want nothing out of this. But if you'd like to get bored out, then here's how you can find me. Yeah. And that I know for a fact that worked for him at least a couple of times.
It would work now. Like a lot of people think like the climate, like, the climate has changed. Women be like this, women be like that. And I always like to say to those people, you're right that that's the popular notion that we see on the internet, but those women that don't like that always exist. And I promise you, even in the era, and I'm not saying this is good or bad, I'm just telling you what's real. Even in the era now, we're past the Me Too era or whatever, there are still some downright dirty sluts that just want to be fucked in the ass and have you talk shit to them. Mm-hmm. I'm not speaking from experience. I got buddies out there that are divorced, and I like these MAGA lunatics or whatever, these type of women, they don't give a lot of them don't give a fuck how you talk to them. Like, in other words, some of them think it's a man's right to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the thing is, like, the way he's doing it, though, I think is kind. Because, like, any woman who's not
he's being
anybody who's not interested can just be like, not into it, whatever. But there are definitely women who are like, oh my God, I just got to have a bad relationship. I just wanted to get dick down, and I didn't want the guy to catch feelings. And I know you might get killed in Fallujah, so this is perfect. Like, people need to understand that, like, women like to fuck. Like, I think that it's been beat into so many people's head that, like, women don't like to fuck. But it's like, there's
but there's a lot of dudes that we don't need to be telling that to.
I know
what
I'm
saying?
I know that.
There's a whole lot of dudes out there that, like, who don't really need to know or understand.
Well, no, but it would be nice if some of them knew it, because they're these married guys.
That'll just make them even madder. You know what I mean? Because they still won't be getting fucked.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And if they understand that, like, no, actually women do like this, but like, just not with you, then they'll shoot up even more schools or whatever. But
I don't know how it was for you, but like in the South, we were almost kind of like not out loud taught, but it was like it permeated just the subconscious or whatever, that like sex is a thing for men that women put up with and will let you do sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. And I think that's because like in the old Southern Baptist tradition, it was like men didn't even know women could get anything out of it. They just like get on there, for 30 seconds.
Your mama sure does care about your schooling, boy.
Exactly. Right. That's just how men didn't know that women could experience pleasure or enjoy things like fucking sex or not, just any of that, Right. So, but you're right. That is how it's sort of taught. The other thing I'll say about my buddy, that he, that probably helped his numbers was, and respect. He was all, I know you heard this. He was a bit of a chubby chaser, my homie. Like he was always right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
That was
fish.
That was kind
fried fish in a barrel, boy.
That was kind of right. That was kind of his wheelhouse. And he knew what he was about, you know what I mean? And it did work. So
dude, as they always say, if you don't think your dream will come true, change your goddamn dream. You know what I mean? Like, first off, let me go ahead and say this. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah, as Shannon Sharp said, if she ain't 280, she ain't a lady. Yeah. 210, I'm going in, Skip. 210, I'm going in, Skip. There ain't nothing wrong. I remember I heard a female comedian, I can't remember one time, but she was like 300 pounds. She was talking, and she goes, yeah, I'm 300 pounds, but there's some good pussy under here.
Pussy under this gut. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I got a gut. There's some good pussy under this gut. I think that, was that on like the Queens of Comedy or something like that?
Yeah,
when that
might have been Monique.
Yeah, but it definitely seems like Monique.
Lunel?
Maybe one of the two. I don't know. I don't know.
Them ladies are hilarious.
There's some other big old funny black ladies out there. It could have been any of them, I guess.
I remember. I think wasn't Lunel. What was the kind of hot one? Sonia or something like that.
Some more.
She
was definitely on the compilation.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, but she was like well built and stuff. But I remember one time she had this bit, and it was somebody was filming her in a parking lot on the way to the show, and they were asking her to tell a joke or something like that, and she goes, "All right, I got one." Everybody talks about Viagra and aphrodisiacs and stuff like that. Men always want to know, is there something I can eat to get me hard? And I'm like, yep, my pussy.
I remember one of her bits from that special too, which was just her talking about the double standard in Hollywood, about how it's only ever, titties that they show and pussies and stuff. He's like, the problem's not new, just, she wanted to see some dicks on screen.
Hey, they're doing it now.
She said, I want to see Wesley's Nestle. That's what she said. I want to see Wesley's Nestle. I want to see Denzel Swell.
Yeah.
And then there was a few other tags or punchlines that were about black actor penises, but I can't remember what they were. But anyway, yeah.
All them girls were killers, man. She was a fucking killer. I loved her back in the day. She's still touring, but I don't see clips of her anymore. But she's a goddamn killer. But yeah, no, I mean, again, I think your buddy, like, he's far from being a creep, like, because the thing women hate more than anything is when a guy don't act like it's that way when it's that way. You know what I mean? Like, he's just saying up front, this is what I want. And I guarantee you, if they had to come back with like, no, he wouldn't have been like, oh, come on, bitch. Let me figure out. You know what I mean?
I mean, honestly, I said he did pretty well with it, but dude, his batting average was probably 175 or something.
That's all you need.
But he sent so many of them that, that's
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, my brother.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, with all these pickup lines, like back in my day, I went through some tears, and it was never pickup lines. It was just talking to a person at a bar who nobody was talking to,
being left at 3 a.m.
Yeah, well, that too. But I'm just saying, like, just strike up a conversation and be charming. Like, you don't need a line. Like, just, hey, how you doing? And by the way, I don't believe in the whole, like, as soon as you meet him, let me buy you a drink. I don't believe in that. And the reason I don't believe in that is because immediately the woman knows you have no interest in anything other than her looks. Because that's all you're basing it on. Hey, can I buy you a drink? It's all about the looks. Talk to them for about 10 to 15 minutes.
But isn't
get to know them a little bit.
Drink supposed to be an icebreaker that's meant to be like, are you cool with us talking more? You know what I mean? I guess can I buy you a drink? And if she says yes, then it's like, we can continue this.
I guess you're right, but I always feel like it puts the woman in a weird position because, like, she's probably scared to say no.
You ever had a girl like try to force you to buy her a drink, like at a bar? Maybe
yeah.
What I'm talking about is, dude, one time I was standing at a bar. I'm with Kate. I'm like married by this point. I'm just with somebody at a bar watching a game or something like that, and it's busy, and I'm standing at the bar waiting to order a drink from the bartender, and right here beside me is some drunk thought, who she ordered her drink or whatever. It hadn't even said a word to me, by the way. She's standing right beside me, but hadn't even acknowledged my existence, nor I hers, and I had no interest in doing so. But she ordered her drink from the bartender, and I was hoping I was next, and he hands it to her, and he tells her what it is, and she just goes, just put it on his tab and points at me.
Absolutely.
And I was like, me? And she's
Hell
like,
no.
yeah, you don't mind, do you? And I was like, fuck no, don't do that. I was like, no. And she, of course, she was like, same way. Like, she got all pissed
like
off.
You was going to fuck her anyways, or if
like
it mattered.
And I was like, no, I'm not. I don't even, who the fuck are you? But anyway, so like that type of shit does happen.
Yeah, I used to go to
that kind of almost happened to me and Drew when we were watching the playoffs last year in a sports bar. This chick came up and I think was angling for that type of thing, and
it's happened to me a lot.
Showed up with Drew's baby, and that pretty much fixed it.
Yeah, it's happened to me a lot, and I think it's because I'm fat, and they think that I'll just be into that. Like, oh, she's paying attention to me, like not knowing that A, I'm happily married, or even before I was happily married, B, that like I can get stuff. Like I know that I look this way, but like I got a way, it's whatever. But like I used to actually have a bit about that based on this bar that me and my buddies used to go to where I would like sing when we had like a little acoustic band or whatever. And so women were constantly doing that because they assumed I got free drinks or whatever. And it's one thing to be like, start talking to me and then be like, hey, buy me a drink. That's one thing. But to just, I don't know you. And then you come up and you're like, hey, get me a drink. Yours are free, right? It's like, get the fuck out of my face. And I had a bit about it, which I know it's not right. But the bit was that I said that at every bar like that, there should be what I called a cunt tax. Which is that women had to pay $1 more for all of their drinks, and it went into a jar. And at the end of the night, it went to the twice divorced dad who was super miserable, having a bad time. He just got all that for all the years that he had to go through that. That's like his Social Security benefits. You know what I mean? Which, like, I don't dislike the premise, but like, there's no way to do it without seeming like you just hate all women.
I used to do a bit because I got married at an early age and everything. I used to do a bit when I was probably 25 or 26 and was already married about being the single guy Avenger or something like that. Where it was like I would just go to bars and just like put those bitches in their place.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? For my single buddies that couldn't do it. You know what I mean? That could like because that it's like I remember I had some line that quoted that dude from Lord of the Rings or whatever. It's like your pussy has no power here, or something like that. You know? But anyway, I remember one time misogynist. But what are you gonna do?
I remember one time we were in Knoxville, and we were with Rick at that. What was that bar that we did karaoke at? Bull Feathers. We were at Bull Feathers. And now that I've thought about it several times and I can see the whole scenario in my mind, and what it was an older woman trying to hit on me, but I didn't go with it at the time because I'm such a defensive person. I went on stage and I sang My Way by Frank Sinatra, and I got down and this older woman came up to me and she's like, how do you even know that song? That's like before your time, honey. And instead of being, and what I said was, well, luckily for me, they recorded it, you dumb bitch, because I was just whiskey drunk as hell, and she immediately ran.
Because you're like, that's your inherent defensiveness that you have about every fucking thing.
Everything. Everybody's out to get me.
So I knew that was coming. So that's hilarious.
Yeah. But turns out I could have just banged this old broad, I think, because I can remember her face. But yeah, I couldn't have it. Anyways, Trae, let all the people know where you and us are finna be now.
Next week, first weekend in December, I'll be in the Bay Area in California, Santa Cruz, San Francisco, and Sacramento. Then after that, December 12th through the 14th, me, Cho, and Drew will be together. WellRed. Once again, we ride at Zany's in Nashville, December 12th through the 14th. Come see us. Then I'm closing this year out December 21st in Chicago, Illinois at the Den Theater. But I've also already got a ton of dates up and posted for 2025. So go to TraeCrowder.com for all them shows and come and see me and make a hit. It'll be fun.
Yeah, come see us in Nashville, TraeCrowder.com. And thank you to everybody who came out to the Don't Tell show in Johnson City, even though I was not allowed to tell. I appreciate y'all because I got to run my new hour and a half, so I'm going to take a third of that and do it in Nashville at Zany's, TraeCrowder.com. Also, go to WeLoveCorey.com. That is where you can get bonus stuff from me. And by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and say it here. If you are a fan of putting on airs, you can get new merch from us at stayfancymerch.com. So do that. It'll hit. And, also, thank you all for listening to the WellRed Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skew. Fart.